Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You've already stated, Mr. Roth, that it was a failure on the part of Dyson and Simpson not to report the incident, and their excuse was that they thought this would be self-reported. Do you believe that allowing individuals to self-report is acceptable?
No, I do not. I think particularly in the supervisory chain, that they had an independent duty to report this either to me or to the Secret Service Office of Professional Responsibility or up the chain. I would note that the Uniform Division Chief said he didn't think it was his job to report misconduct that happened by special agents.
So is this a policy problem or a communication problem?
I think this is a communication problem.
So what's the policy say?
The policy says that individuals have a responsibility to report suspicions of violation of law or regulation, either to the Inspector General or, for example, here to the Office of Professional Responsibility.
Does the policy state that individuals must self-report?
There is a Secret Service policy that requires individuals to self-report, yes.
Okay, but you don't believe that that is effective?
Well, I think it's effective if you have the integrity to do so. Obviously, if
all right, but you just said that it's not an acceptable practice, and yet it's policy. So can we expect that policy to change?
I think that's a question that you should direct to the Secret Service.
Do you believe that Dyson and Simpson should be punished?
We are not in the business of determining what the appropriate punishment should be.
I'm asking, do you believe they should be?
I think their behavior was troubling.
Do you believe they should be punished?
I think there ought to be consequences for these kinds of actions, yes.
All right. Do you believe that any personnel, be it with DHS or Secret Service or whatever, should be able to retire in order to avoid punishment for misconduct?
Again, that gets into areas of personnel law that I'm simply
But I'm asking your opinion.
Well, personally, I've been in the government for 29 years. I have a pension. It's vested. That is my property. I would like to think I can rely on that.
But in order to avoid punishment for misconduct, we're seeing an awful lot of this these days, and it's quite disgusting to me personally and to a lot of people that I talk to. It's a way of dodging consequences for personal behavior. It enables people to behave any way they want to, and when they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, they just retire and there's no consequences. And you believe that's okay?
I certainly understand the frustration with this. I mean, the maximum consequence that could be faced here would be termination from the service, you know, leaving the service, which is functionally what retirement will do.
Without punishment, though, for misconduct. Somewhere along the way, we've got to deal with the problem of misconduct. And at this point, there seems to be nothing. And if anyone's caught, they just retire, and there's no consequences. And that's an entirely unacceptable policy when all is said and done. At some point, misconduct has to be dealt with because we are seeing, it seems like on a regular basis, Secret Service high-profile cases of misconduct. And there is a root cause somewhere for this culture that allows for misconduct. What do you believe the root cause is?
I think it is a lack of accountability.
Okay, so how do we correct it?
Well, again, I think what the Secret Service has done, and again, this is probably better addressed to the Secret Service, is institute a series of reforms, for example, a table of penalties, a more uniform way of administering discipline, better communication, those kinds of things.
There's actually a reputation, and I know you know this from the report, that there's punishment for those who report
Correct.
Misconduct. Have you ever considered rewarding people for reporting misconduct?
Financially?
In any way? I mean, would that help bring accountability?
I think that's something that's worthy of some discussion. Certainly one of the things that we try to do, for example, what I did when I came on board is I sent an email to all 7,000 email addresses in the Secret Service indicating that we were interested in finding sort of misconduct, waste, fraud within the Secret Service, reminding them of the protections that they have within sort of the Whistleblower Protection Act as well as the Inspector General's Act. You know, as a result of that, we have gotten some work, some reports. The report on the Bush residence that had an alarm that had been out for 13 months was as a result of a whistleblower. Somebody came forward and said, look, this is an unacceptable thing. You should see what's happened here. And we were able to investigate it. We were able to write a report. We brought it to light, and we fixed the problem. So what I'm hopeful of is that as we move down the road, people will understand that, in fact, they do have some redress, that reporting something up the chain won't simply be ignored, but they'll actually fix the problem. But it's going to take some time.
Thank the gentleman.
Thank you.
Thank you.